Good morning, Mid-Missouri. I'm Kasia Kerridge, and here are your local headlines. Columbia residents will have a chance to address the City Council tonight regarding the city's proposed budget for the 2019 fiscal year. The new budget has to be approved within the next few weeks and would take effect October 1st. Tonight's City Council meeting is at 7. A St. Louis area woman and her children spent Labor Day placing white crosses on a deadly stretch of beach along the Merrimack River. The Parks Department put up signs in both English and Spanish warning people the river is dangerous. Part of the river is shallow, but downstream the current picks up and the water gets much deeper. There have been 2 drownings this summer. With the end of Labor Day weekend, summer is officially over for businesses at the Lake of the Ozarks. Labor Day deals, concerts, fireworks, are just some of the things that companies tried to bring back to tourists at the lake. After this weekend, these businesses are starting to prepare for the fall season and also prepare for a big hit in the amount and type of customers visiting the lake. The owner of the boat rental company says that customers change from families to fishermen.
We get more fishermen and golfers, and we get a lot more, say, older couples and people that don't have kids in school. And so they take advantage of the quieter time after the big holidays.
He says that his company takes time to employ less staff, use less equipment, and regenerate for the next season. And here is live over Jefferson City. Thank you so much, and the Today Show will be right back.
Today.
Construction has started for a new middle school in South Columbia, meaning your child could graduate from a different school. The total budget for the project, $34 million. That's according to Columbia Public Schools. KOMU 8's Kasia Kerridge was at the school board meeting tonight to see if there are any new developments. Kasia?
The Columbia Public School Board met tonight to talk about the new Southwest Middle School in South Columbia and what that means for boundaries. Attendance areas may be changing due to where you live when the new school year opens. The board agreed to make a final decision about its boundaries in April. One board member said it will give more time for parents and students to understand the change instead of right before the school year. No one spoke during the public comment about the issue, but board members joked that they will get plenty of comments when the boundaries do get decided. Live in Columbia, Kasia Kerridge, KOMU 8 News.
Good morning, Mid-Missouri. I'm Kasia Kerridge, and here are your local headlines. People across Mid-Missouri are gathering at events today to honor those who lost their lives in the tragedy that hit this country 17 years ago today. The activists have hosted this demonstration every year since the 9/11 attack in 2001. For 1 hour, members of the community are invited to listen to members of Mid-Missouri Peaceworks speak. Attendees are encouraged to hold signs and banners calling for peace. A new court ruling threatens to end abortion services in Mid-Missouri. The ruling Monday says that the Department of Health and Senior Services can impose hospital privileges to abortion clinics. The CEO of Planned Parenthood Great Plains, Brandon Hill, says women will have to travel to St. Louis or neighboring states to receive services if this goes through. Hill says these requirements are inconvenient to Missouri women and rarely have to do with health care. And happening right now, Missouri Task Force 1 is leaving later this morning to aid North Carolina in Hurricane Florence. It is bringing 100,000 pounds of equipment and may be brought to different locations as the storm becomes more predictable. And here is the live look over downtown Columbia, and Megan Kelly is next.
Supporters of an effort to clean up Missouri politics are trying to keep it open for voters. A Cole County judge ordered on Friday that the Missouri Secretary of State's office remove Amendment 1 from the November ballot. KOMU 8's Kasia Kerridge went to Moberly today to see why supporters think we still need to clean Missouri.
Amendment 1 would change the Missouri Constitution, and some supporters think these laws about ethics need to be passed. Supporters of the amendment from leagues of women voters in Missouri met today to talk about why they want to keep it on the ballot. According to the amendment's author, Clean Missouri, if the measure passes, it will do things like eliminate almost all lobbyist gifts, require legislative records to be open to the public, and double-check on new district lines after the census. One Huntsville pastor showed up in Moberly today because he wants more people to know that their vote matters.
You know, if you believe in something and you're passionate about it, and even if you spend the monies on it, I should not be ashamed of that.
Now, although supporters want accountability, Senator Bob Onder, a Republican from Lake St. Louis, spoke to KOMU 8 News after Friday's decision, and he said that the Cole County judge made the right decision and that no one should be fooling Missouri voters. Live in the studio, Kasia Kerridge, KOMU 8 News.
Good morning, Mid-Missouri. I'm Kasia Kerridge, and here are your local headlines. Missouri's Attorney General is encouraging Congress to renew the Violence Against Women Act. Josh Hawley joined 55 other states and territories in the request. He sent a letter to congressional leaders explaining the importance of the act. The act provides help for female survivors of violence and $6 billion in grant funding for female violence assistance and training. The act is set to expire this year. Victims of domestic abuse in Missouri never received the nearly $1 million of aid that were due. That's according to a new audit by State Auditor Nicole Galloway. The audit found 18 counties did not distribute any domestic violence shelter fees in the past year. According to Galloway, this is because of a lack of transparency with government officials and regulations.
Much of this is due to overly complicated and confusing regulations guiding how this funding can be distributed. Local governments lack clarity on how to properly distribute the funds to meet the needs of their communities.
Galloway says Missouri should consider using a new model to distribute funding based on where it's needed. Columbia City Council members finalized voting on a budget for 2019. Nearly all city workers will get a 45-cent an hour raise. One labor union representative says it was all possible because of communication between city workers and council members.
City employees have been coming up to City Council and have been telling the council and telling the public about their working conditions, about how little they're being paid. And that's the real victory.
One common topic that people wanted to revisit was the transit system. And here is a live look over downtown Columbia, and the Today Show will be right back.
More Missouri church volunteers are leaving tonight to help with Hurricane Florence recovery efforts.
KOMU 8's Kasia Kerridge spoke to volunteers today over FaceTime about their experience.
And Emily, here's what they're doing right now. More than 80 Missouri Baptist disaster relief volunteers and one therapy dog are helping in Wallace, North Carolina, and 30 more are leaving tonight. The nearest big city of Wilmington is typically 45 minutes away, and one volunteer told me it took them 4 hours to make that drive. The volunteers have served over 33,000 meals since they arrived in Wallace last week. They are helping prepare hot food, install tarps on destroyed roofs, and chainsaw fallen trees. The volunteers said the best part is how grateful they are.
One of the first things that we see is relief, because there is someone here to help. When something like this happens, your life is turned upside down and you really don't know what to do first.
The Missouri Baptist Disaster Relief has also helped in Colorado, Iowa tornadoes, and now Hurricane Florence. Live in the studio, Kasia Kerridge, KOMU 8 News.
Good morning, Mid-Missouri. I'm Kasia Kerridge, and here are your local headlines. More Missouri volunteers are on the way to help with Hurricane Florence recovery efforts. Volunteers with Missouri Baptist Disaster Relief have already served more than 33,000 meals since they arrived last week. They're hoping to help prepare hot food, install tarps on destroyed roofs, and remove fallen trees.
One of the first things that we see is relief, because there is someone here to help. When something like this happens, your life is turned upside down and you really don't know what to do first.
The Missouri Baptist Disaster Relief has also helped in Colorado flooding, Iowa tornadoes, and now Hurricane Florence. Missouri Supreme Court won't reconsider a ruling letting voters decide on a ballot measure that would change the way state legislative districts are drawn. Supporters of the amendment say it will bring vital ethics reform to Jefferson City and ensure the fair drawings of voting districts. Opponents say the measure violates the state constitution by addressing too many topics. The Hearn Center faces a six-figure price tag after a water main break this weekend. Mizzou Athletics say flooding destroyed the volleyball court. MU volleyball players might be without their home court for a few weeks. The estimated cost to replace the court is about $100,000. The team is now practicing in the fieldhouse portion of Hearns instead of the arena.
What we've done for practice is we own our own sport court system, so we're able to set that up over in the on the track side so they can continue to practice and work out in there.
The volleyball team's next home match is October 5th against South Carolina. There's no word yet on whether the arena will be available on that date or not. And here is the sky cam over Jefferson City. The Today Show will be right back.